vado nella mail. Correttivo. Vado a recuperare un bicchiere.
Sì, questa non era di Beh, non ce l'ho usato anche per
Ok, dovresti sentirlo perché vedo il 1, 2, 3 prova, 1, 2, 3 prova.
Davide, mi accendi per favore, Simona?
Sono accesa
abbiamo
perché
parlato
c'è un
lockdown.
piccolo pizzetto che manca. Sì,
Sì.
giusto.
Aspetta.
Manca sempre un pezzo. No, aspetta, facciamo.
Ah, è uscito.
Mi sembrava facile, eh.
Sì, infatti subito, dai, facciamo.
Pronti via, adesso è.
Invece,
No.
invece.
Adesso?
No.
No.
Aspetta, vediamo se su scala.
Ah, aspetta.
Questa come si accende? Cioè in teoria basta che la colleghiamo, no?
Sì, di solito. Però non compare. Aspetta, proviamo a metterlo che a volte fa un po' di bizze.
Yes. Si è accesa, si è accesa. Grazie. Sono venuta bene? Sono venuta bene?
Io ti ho rovinato la foto, ma vabbè.
Ma che?
Allora, lo staff fa sempre queste foto rigide. Rigide. Allora, adesso si è staccato questo, ma senti, adesso calma. Mi sentirai? Aspetta, vediamo se. Ah, però se.
Ah, aspetta, scusa.
Adesso in teoria.
Vai.
Ok, mi senti adesso?
Sì, scusa.
Niente. Allora vado a recuperare un bicchiere.
Se devo fare una modifica alle slide è fattibile o da escludere il totale? 5 minuti? Si può fare ancora?
Ma questi sono sicuri di voler assaggiare tutti quei vini?
22 sono.
Cioè,
Ma io non ho capito se ci sono. Forse fino alle. Noi alle 8 abbiamo un'altra cosa.
eh sì,
Quindi. Fino alle 7 e mezza. Se alle 8 abbiamo un'altra. Alle 8 meno 5. Fino alle 8 meno 5 abbiamo.
hai visto quando sono iniziate certe, potrebbe anche succedere alle 9, però vabbè, noi pensiamo positivo. Tanto non ci saranno stranieri, spero bene.
Ma in teoria no.
Cioè, si vengono a suicidare con 20 vini. Anche no.
Poi quante persone, cioè un sacco di tavoli. Però capito 2 ore. Sì, sì, ho visto. Allora, sta andando bene.
Il fotografo mi piace farsi fotografare.
Però io non ce l'ho fatta vedere, scusa,
Sì, non bisogna fare il check.
nel senso.
Giustamente.
No, guarda, io
Ecco, esatto.
ho maggior ragione.
È così.
Bravi ragazzi. Qua è tutto il mercato delle
No, ma è finito questo quaderno. Oh.
prima di prima, questa foglia.
sempre, piena. Però mi arrivano sempre queste cose così. Che non ce la faccio. Te lo dico 3 anni di fila.
Scrivilo.
Non è difficile.
E adesso cosa fai di bello? Tu ne stai a Milano o torni?
Domani scegli. Subito, immediatamente.
Via, a casa.
No, guarda, 1, 2, 3. 8
da venire.
persone collegate, compresa lei.
Hai 2 persone collegate.
Uno sta là seduto, l'altro è un suo compagno.
Immaginario.
Suo fratello.
Chiamasi Redmi Note
A
10.
mio cugino non lo fai entrare.
Mio cugino. Esatto.
Che fai?
Io ho smontato tutto, pure io mi sto smontando un attimo. Io me ne vado.
Quindi non l'aspetti
Alla corradina,
alla
no,
princess.
vabbè, fino alle 18 sto.
Ah, sì. Ti volevi far desiderare? No, dai, rimani, dai.
Devo caricare il telefono, non l'ho fatto più.
Bravi.
È brutto questo momento di attesa dove sono tutti disperati.
Ci vuole lui, che lui tira su. Allora, 3, 2, 1, via.
Stanno facendo le prove. No, perché il camion sta belli questi stivalini.
Ti piacciono?
Sì.
Sì, me li sono comprati moderni. Botta di gioventù. Mia figlia non li ha ancora visti, mi critica sempre.
No, sono bellissimi. Poi che possono dire comodo.
Infatti.
Si dà un po' fastidio.
Ma perché mi ha con la scritta tutto qua.
Cioè, abbiamo pure pagato.
Sì.
Con quest'opera. Hashtag questo. Che operatore numero 1. Cameraman numero 1. Posso aiutare? Può essere che adesso...
Se dovessi scegliere una slide che magari qualcuno non c'è, dobbiamo spostare, dobbiamo andare avanti con questa per spostare questa.
Sì, no, solo perché io non conosco i
Però se ti dico pagina, per esempio pagina 10, tu ci riesci.
però dovrei uscire.
Ah, ok, allora andiamo avanti con questo.
Sì, nel senso che andrei avanti comunque
Ah, ok, va bene.
perché non è un PowerPoint. Questo è un PowerPoint.
Va bene o bene dico?
Si siede
No, no, no.
Faccio il lavoro.
Poi si vedono seduti e dicono non faccio niente.
Faccio il lavoro. Così vigili. Io ho fatto. Guarda che puntino.
No, di qua si devono recuperare questo. E questo è un bagnetto.
Basta?
Un penninghetto. Un penninghetto.
Ah, vedi qua i miei santini. Ma secondo me bisogna fare quello generale.
Prova.
Lui c'ha la larga, tu hai una stretta, tu hai una stretta su di lui, primi due, centrali. Vai. Ecco.
Facciamolo bene, Armando.
Allora, buon pomeriggio a tutti, benvenuti alla cerimonia di premiazione.
Very well. Good afternoon, anyone, and thank you for joining the ceremony award from Premio Qualità Italia 2022. Before starting, I'd like to thank you all and all the wineries that have participated in this competition. But we have to thank first and foremost Milano Wine Week, in particular Mr. Gordini. I think this is a special event. It's a futuristic event headed by a visionary who managed to make all this possible. And I believe that this event is writing the future of wine, of experiencing wine for its global approach, sensitive approach, and the involvement of many people. And before I heard figures which are quite impressive. And so this is a great pride for us. We are here for the first year, and we hope we will join also next year if you invite us. And it's a pleasure and honor. It's nice that we can showcase your wineries. I'd like to thank Luciano Nieto from Confregio Cultura Milan, Lodi, and thanks to Mr. Russo, Francesco Russo, who wrote the reviews for your wines, and Lorenzo Sabatino, who is the technical manager of the competition. Due to the further commitments of Mr. Gordini, I would like to leave the floor to him for his welcome address. First of all, welcome, and the Premio Qualità Italia is at its third year. And so we have some habits, year after year. And this is an event that is growing quite a lot. Today it's the last day, but we have still many activities and events going on. And over these 9 days, we had plenty of master classes and talks and award ceremonies, just like in the other locations in Milan. We are extremely happy with the result of this event. Milano Wine Week has given great opportunities to various wineries who were present here in person or personally or through their consortia. We had the opportunity and host over 100 international buyers who could participate in this somewhat different event. They have also able to profit from the city, and we had quite a few events for consumers. I talked about that with Francesco Saveri a moment ago. The world of wine communicates all too often to 0.0 something of those who drink them. Final users or consumers are often left out. On the contrary, we believe it's a very important link in this chain. And of course, with the right language, with the right terminology, which is different from the one we use among experts. And so we want that people could experience various chances. For instance, we had the wine bus. When you go out, you will see the wine bus that organizes events and take people around the city. So every day there are different wineries, and also we had the Chianti boat on the Navigli. We had concerts and shows, and so many activities devoted to wine lovers. And also we focused on some important messages. Palazzo Cervelloni will end with a very symbolical event, which is called the Milano Wine List, the 20 most important sommelier in top Milanese restaurants who gathered and brought 5 products from their wine list and created a common wine list. And this is a message which is the final message of this event, which means that we have to devote the appropriate attention to these professionals who are extremely important for the life of the wineries and the experience of consumers. So we are very happy. We are very happy we can continue our project with you. So given the number of wines, generally we have a record number of glasses. Next year we'll make 2-meter long mats. I'd like to thank you again, and I hope to see you next year. Not only in this context, but I hope you will come with the wineries, with your wineries, to join us in Milan, because this has a significant impact that gives important. Thank you very much, and. I'd like to ask you 2 things. As you know, school is culture and a lot of work. And what is the most important cultural trait that you would like to summarize, you would like to highlight? Well, the most important element is being the proximity to young people. We had very interesting consumers. The average age is 20-year-old. So young people who want to learn and enjoy but we were amazed, we were surprised by their interest in learning more. So these are people who want to taste wine differently, have contacts with the wineries, and talk to and understand more the territories. And so this is extremely important because this is a way we can involve this 99.9% of people to whom we were not speaking at the moment. And this is something that we all need: restaurants, wine experts, retail chains. So it's important through consortia that has to help also the medium-sized wineries to communicate better, starting from the communication. Also, of course, large wineries have more funds to do that and create important events. But it's very important to involve all of them. You see your wineries when you invite tourists, many people are coming, a lot of interest, a lot of interactions. So it means that when we involve people, we achieve the results. I think that the edition of 2023, which is already, what else are you thinking of? Well, next year we will have the second format of MWW Group that produces Milano Wine Week, and it's going to be the Aperitivo Festival from 22, which is called Aperitivo Festival, from 22 to 28th of May. And we will always talk about aperitifs with in combination with food. Of course, this is positive. We want to teach people, young people in particular, what to pair and also how to drink best. And this is extremely important because the European Union is trying to change our labels, to put the caption that alcohol is harmful for health. And so we have to come up with solutions. And I think that the pairing wine with food is extremely important because you know that the future of international promotion, you know that OCMs will end, you know that there are various projects that will try to join the supply chains. And so the aperitivo can be a great occasion for Italy because if we say that we also have to bring with them the food products, sometimes we are stronger with food, other times we are stronger with wine. Think of what would happen if you would always combine a Prosecco with Italian food or Parmigiano Reggiano with an Italian wine. That would make up a great market. So we have to think of occasions for consumption and not just single products, and with an effort on the part of ministries and associations and many groups who are following this project. So we will launch this new project. So it's going to be also an ever more sustainable event because we have discussed about that very much, and so we have to be the first to apply that. Thank you very much. Very well. So while you are getting your glasses ready, I would like to say, well, first of all, I'd like to thank the technical staff, the sommelier, the audio-visual team, and also I would like to bring you the greetings of almost all the presidents of the regions and councillors who cannot attend. But this is extremely important. For us as Scuola Etica Leonardo, we keep supporting wine with various projects that we have implemented because we want to spread the culture of wine. First of all, just a quick summary from Francesco Russo for what he has tasted. First of all, good evening to one and all. I'm very happy to be here, and Premio Qualità Italia is always a challenge because, as you can tell from the number of glasses in front of us, it's a bit complex to taste so many wines. I always try to have. Not to taste too many wines. However, this is a very special occasion because we have a very diverse overview of the state of the art of Italian wine. The wineries represented here, and also those who have a more commercial approach, maybe to the international market. Others are more focused on the terroir, on the identity, and so these wines are certainly all well made, technically perfect. So, battery of 22 wines which I've tasted, and I devoted an entire day to test them and write down immediately my tasting notes. And it was so interesting to see that the Premio Qualità Italia, the quality has improved year over year, and quality level should always be given for granted. Producers and experts give that for granted, but also, I would say, the level of cleanliness, which is a prerequisite to talk about identity. So the fact that we have clean wines that can express their origin in terms of area and in terms of varietal. What about the first wine? Well, we have 2 or 3 wines which are also part of theme project about aromatic precursors, and it's always interesting to find varietals that help me to investigate more the terpenes, the Malvasia. So this is Malvasia ferraia, Liziano Piacentino, Piacenza, in the province of Piacenza. I always forget that we have to run a little bit, and I tasted this wine a couple of months ago. The nose is very consistent with Malvasia varieties, so these terpenic notes that are typical, and in over a few months it's showing more and more sunny notes. The fruit is opening up. We have this synesthesia, this summery synesthesia. And then spices. I couldn't perceive spices a few months ago, like white pepper, that is, on the contrary, now standing out. And then it's great fun for me to find, I always mention Malvasia and Moscato, interpreted with this vinification technique to find this contrast between sweetness of the nose and the very sapid and dry palate, which I think can pair very well. And a few years ago, I coined this this definition of gourmet wine, and I think this is a perfect gourmet wine. Now I'd like to invite Simona Fornasari and Roberto Marara, representative of Cantine di Ferraia, for the award. And Loriano di Sabatino is giving the award. Thank you very much. Mr. Manara,
Ci vuole dire qualcosa su questo
do you
vino, su
want to
questa-
say something about this product,
questo fiore?
about this flower? This is Malvasia from the Colli Piacentini, and this is fizzy, vinified in white, so with no skins. And I don't know if you said that before. This is Malvasia di Candia, which is an aromatic grape which can only be found in our area. You have a Malvasia in Sicily, but ours is called Malvasia aromatica di Candia, and it's only in our area.
Condiviso quello che ha detto il signor Russo.
Do you agree with what Mr. Russo said?
Una domanda faccio io.
I have a question.
La tendenza di manifestanti
So the trend for fizzy wines is
gusti più morbidi.
to be drier or softer? Well, our is a territory of fizzy wines, and so fizzy wines are extremely potent, and this was driven by Prosecco. We sell these products very well. In our area, we sell more fizzy than still wines, and we are happy about our work.
Grazie. Seconda degustazione, vino spumante di là, qualità brut millesimato, anno 2017.
Di là, sparkling wine, vino spumante di qualità brut from Maeli,
Colli Euganei.
Baone Colli Euganei.
Come anticipavo prima,
So, as I said earlier,
mi diverto sempre
I always like to approach aromatic varieties with this aromatic makeup, especially yellow Moscato. Yellow Moscato has an emphasis on terpenes.
indicazioni un po' controcorrente, tra virgolette, no?
So for innovative modification, because some say that Moscato requires its sweetness to express itself in the best at best, but in this dry version expresses itself in a very modern way, which is what we need to do with varieties which have been trapped by some pairing conditions and sort of stereotypes related to occasions like end of the meal or celebrations. However, as you can see here, you can make very agile and wines that are also very fine and flavorful. For instance, this is evolving more on the vinification notes, and so I find this bread crust note and custard cream, and also the orange flowers and leaves.
Bocca di grande agilità,
Palate
buona
is very
acidità e
agile,
soprattutto questa
good
sapidità, no? E poi
acidity
vi
and
conduce a
sapidity that takes you over to the territories of the origin, so of the Colli Euganei.
La dottoressa Elisa
Now would like to invite Elisa Di Lavcanto and Gianluca Bisol for the award.
il dottor Nieto per la premiazione, grazie.
And Mr. Nieto is going to bestow the award.
Complimenti.
Congratulations.
Alla stessa cantina
And this winery has a special mention
sempre con le Euganei riserva.
again for the Colli Euganei Riserva 2017.
Qualcosa di questo
Do you want to say something about these wonderful wines?
Allora, sono innanzitutto
Well, first of all, I'm very excited because I always remember when I thought that you could make metodo classico from Moscato. And I made it the first year myself. I'm not an enologist. And I remember that the experiment was very good. And I immediately understood the potential of this variety that has a very classy expression in Colli Euganeo. And I always say that I lost a year of my life to make all these tests, some successful, some not. And I'm happy that this territory has now can now showcase its potential. Can you promise making these wines? Well, actually, I like to experiment a lot. It would be interesting always to discover all my experiments. Are we all invited? You surely are. And I'd like to congratulate, in particular, Elisa, on something that was seen in a misleading way, because the idea of making spumante with yellow Moscato. But metodo classico, in particular, technically is ideal to ensure that you don't have the problems which with Mardinotti or Sharma you can have, and the classical bitter notes of Moscato in the finish. So the metodo classico creates this sort of sweetness and texture that offsets the bitter notes of the Moscato finish, makes it very, very balanced and agile. Thank you, Francesco.
Grazie a voi, complimenti. Terza degustazione.
Third, IGT, vino frizzante rosato, Righetti Enzo, Verona. Cavaillon Veronese, province of Verona. So here we have again the result of my studies and my interest. The world of rosé wines has been very, very important over the last 12 years. That's when I started to study them. Now we have a new group of producers and also consumers who are more and more interested in this product. And the agility and also the elegance and finesse of these rose, note of rose, spices. And also the palate is very clean with a nice acidity and a finish which is between salt and iron. We have this aromatic note that makes you want to have it with food. And this is very representative of a certain type of philosophy, wine philosophy, and that can be paired very well. Very well. Now I'd like to invite Mrs. Ornella Spaller and Fabio Righetti. And the award is delivered by Antonio Esposito, President of Estilia. Fitilia is a chartered accountant group who help the winemakers for the sustainability reports. Congratulations.
Due parole sulla sua cantina.
A couple of words about your winery, Mr. Righetti. Well, great satisfaction because we meet again here. And so these wines come from red grapes, and I use Crio maceration. The varietal is Corvina, that is used to make Amarone, but also other important wines. And the area is close to Lazise, and this received also another important award. Thank you.
Prossimo vino in degustazione.
First, next wine is Bardolino Chiaretto Spumante Brut DOC again from Reghezzi Enzo. And in this case, it's a Corvina Rondinelle Morinara, am I right? I also have Sangiovese.
Come fa ad accorgersi?
In realtà poi, proprio vivendo in Toscana tanti anni, i marcatori del Sangiovese si evidenziano facilmente. Assolutamente sì, e credo che ci sia un bel parallelo col vino di prima, no? Due idee completamente diverse.
I think that these are two.
Anche una finalità forse diversa, no? In questo caso
the goal is different.
maggiore, che verte più verso un'eleganza.
This is more elegant. I'm not saying that the first one was not elegant, but this is somewhat more complex. And we have mineral notes and floral notes, which almost surround the nose, but it's and the fruit is not overpowering. And also the bubbles are certainly more mouth-filling and has more texture and good depth, and also nice sapidity that tends towards a nematic note, which I like very much, and that make the wine very lingering. And I would like to know whether, because yesterday we talked about the aperitifs, and this type of wine is to be considered in it's perfect for aperitifs. However, this can also be used for an entire meal. Very well, and now we invite Mrs. Ornella Spader, and Mr. Di Sabatino is delivering the award. There is also a mention for Bartolino Classico 2021.
Complimenti, grazie.
Thank you.
Fifth
wine, category white wines, IGT, Lazio IGT Moscato Bianco 2021. From Tre Terre, Maccotta, Fortunato, Sabaudia in the province of Latina.
altro vino rischioso.
This is another risky wine that is part.
E secondo me sono sempre
It is a category that must always be rewarded, considering the courage
del posizionamento.
and the positioning. This is a wine that plays a little bit with the senses of the taster. And so it's the identity of Moscato. This is the white Moscato. And the idea is to tell the taste buds to expect a sweet wine, which is not sweet because there is a lot of balance, good acidic tension, good sapidity. So this is a very complex wine. And the word complexity is sometimes misunderstood or abused. But when it comes to aromatic varietals, it's impossible not to use this terminology, and above all, not to be fascinated by the nose of wines that range from yellow flowers to citrus fruits or notes of sage, like in this case, a whiff of spices and also ripened white fruit. It's a very sunny wine.
Bene, grazie. Allora chiamerei il dottor Fortunato Maccotta.
And now Fortunato Maccotta, who is not here. Sorry. I don't have the name.
Dari, bene, dottoressa Paola Dari.
Mrs. Paola Dari.
Premia il dottor Nieto.
And Mr. Nieto is going to deliver the award.
Bene, c'è anche una menzione, Vini Rossi GT.
We also have Vini Rossi GT Annale 2021, Tre Terre Lazio IGT, Syrah Red. Congratulations. Sometimes from Latium, maybe you don't expect these nice results. On the contrary, congratulations. Can you tell me how you got there? Well, first of all, I'm here in the name of Fortunato, who unfortunately had an accident. So our vineyard is at the boundary of Parco Nazionale del Circeo, and the Moscato in this territory adapted very well, and every year gives us a lot of satisfaction. The vintage 2021 has been particularly favorable, and so we are very happy about this. And we vinify the Moscato wine in two versions. This one, the dry one, and also the passito, which we hope to have you taste next year. We are happy and proud, and thank you so much. Thank you for being here. White DOC, Acino d'Oro, Colli Piacentini, Malvasia DOC from Ferraia, Usiano Piacentino. So this is again, I didn't decide the escalation of the wines, but you chose them in the right way, so that I can talk aromatic wines in a more modern setting. Because I see that little by little we are getting there, also thanks to wines that are interpreted without emphasizing redundant notes that sometimes are pretty boring. There are wines which are definitely boring, and so you don't drink more than one. And on the contrary, this Malvasia makes you understand which is very balanced. So there is never an aromatic note that can be out of touch or that can make the sip boring. So here, well, then we'll ask the producer. The idea is that of having a texture that makes me think of that it's not pushed maturation, but that there is a nice extraction of precursors, but also of the mineral notes. And these wines require this because this compensates for these wines and this deep sapidity that makes us want to have more. And they all end with this salty note, which is very important to me. Well, we have Mr. Manara and Simona Fornasari, who is here to collect the award. So Mr. Russo is delivering the award. Do you want to tell us something about this? Well, this is again Malvasia di Candia aromatica, but this is vinified with cryo maceration in contact with the skins. So it had 4 days of maceration. Well, I think that it's essential to extract all what is very positive in Malvasia. Sometimes you are afraid of extracting too much and have heavy wines. On the contrary, I think that there is balance in the mineral component that without the skin extraction would not be present. Thank you very much. Next wine, Vini Bianchi DOC IG, Vermentino di Callura DOC IG Superiore from Cucaione from Piero Mancini, Olbia, Sassari. So we are we have very nice aromas, and the varietal is very much respected. And also the location, because today we talk about Vermentino very much, and I often happen to have a sort of contradiction, because we talk about Vermentino as if these wines can give more or less valuable results in different areas of Italy. However, these wines, especially when the roots can get deep into the earth, the aromatic profile is very interesting. And this is very, very important. And it's very important to enhance the personality of this variety, and also the location, the geolocation. I like to say geolocation because it's important to underline that, especially in a wine like this. Because this wine makes you travel maybe to areas where you might not go very often to taste these kind of wines. Despite I had a chance to go quite a few times to Sardinia, And I've always found wines with a very strong identity. So here I have notes of peach and pear and yellow flowers, chamomile, this mineral note and sulfurous note that makes it more fine and elegant, and also white pepper. And then a nice ample wine with this acidic backbone that ends with nice sapidity. So we don't have representatives, however, from the winery. So while we wait for the eighth wine, perhaps you can tell us about so how these wines were selected. Yes, this competition took more days than in the past because we have more sample from 6th to 13th of July. The rules were unchanged, and the idea is to follow the rules of the International Tasting Association. There were 25 commissioners in 5 commissions, and the tastings were made with the international card in hundreds, and all wines exceeded the minimum score of 82 hundreds. Of course, the producers can ask for the copy of these tasting cards. And the wines that, the regional wines, had to exceed at least 80 hundreds. Thank you. So white wines, DOC, San Pietro, Lugana DOC Reserva 20, from Pilandro, Desenzano del Garda. When I taste Lugana, I always think of a benchmark because I come from Marche, and so I think of Verdicchio. But since there is a genetic similarity, we can distinguish different territories. For instance, I like to think of vineyards as translators of the territory, and that convey what the soil and the climate offer. For instance, here there is 10% of tonneau, am I right? And this means a style that is more a Burgundy-like style for the nose, but then on the palate we go back to the territory. So we have all the descriptors and note that are reminiscent of the wines where these wines are made. So we don't have time to dwell on this wine because this is a great descriptor. And the taste is confirmed, and it's very consistent. Very well. Now we have Asia Faccin and Maya Faccin, whom we thank, and we invite her to take the prizes because they were awarded the first prize, Qualità Italia, and also they have mentions for Lugana DOC Terre Crea and Verdicchio dei Castelli di Jesi, Classico Superiore DOC Passione, White Spumante Wines DOC EGT DOC G, Lugana Vino Spumante DOC 2017 Gold, and Vino Spumante di Qualità Santa Martina. Congratulations. Mr. Di Sabatino delivers the award.
Siamo distratti con un grande numero di premi.
We have many awards.
C'è una grande impegno da parte dell'azienda.
And so there is a big commitment on the part of the winery to make more wines. Well, you know, more than production, what matters is quality. And luckily, we have a young enologist and very passionate who experiments a lot, and we are very happy. Also because ours is a family winery, and our grandfather was already testing a lot. Thank you very much.
Grazie a voi, complimenti.
Thank you.
Prossimo vino, vini rosati IGT.
Vini rosati IGT, le grazie.
Negro Amaro IGP Rosato 2021.
Salento Negro Amaro IGP Rosato 2021. Le grazie from San Pietro Vernotico, Brindisi.
Andiamo ai rosati.
So we go back to the rosé wines. I have written a lot that the rosé wines had to be reconsidered, and also the biases associated with it. And these wines proves that. So we have the rosé wines in Italy are now very successful, and we are accustomed to rosé wines which are more concentrated and stronger, that are more similar to reds than whites. But I think that there is a varietal predisposition, especially in Negro Amaro, to make very fine wines and very agile wines. And luckily, unfortunately, the Provence got there much earlier, so now we have an approach that is more favorable for rosé wines, and this is also thanks to many wineries that make a huge effort to make this. So this is made with press, and so that is predisposed to be elegant and fine, which sometimes Italian rosé wines don't have. I like the floral notes and not the overpowering fruit. There is a slight black spiciness. And this memory of wild herbs that and very nice acidity and balance between acidity and structure. Very well. Unfortunately, we don't have representatives from the company, and so we move to the Vini Rosati DOC. Rerum c'era solo d'Abruzzo, Fratelli Biagi, Colonnella Teramo. Do we have the producer?
Posso chiedere a livello di vinificazione? Benissimo, no, chiedo perché non ho trovato note.
I have a question because I couldn't find technical notes, and I think that you have cold maceration in the press.
Lega. Chi meglio di lei lo può sapere?
È fondamentale sapere se è da pressa o se è un salasso. Io sarei molto più... Perfetto. Allora...
So it's the result of the press. Whereas we were using the draining method before. That's very good because this confirms what I wrote.
La possibilità anche
So you have the possibility with Cerasuolo. When I talk about Cerasuolo, it's always a problem. I've been selecting rosé, and there is always some winery from Abruzzo that tells me, but Cerasuolo is not a rosé. There is this sort of opposition, but in terms of vinification and category, it cannot be put in another category, and it's great. I think this is very positive because making wines with this approach makes Cerasuolo become or take up a different dimension. Such that there are great rosé wines, all the more so if you have an identity and an historical identity. We know that there are few areas in Italy that can boast the identity of rosé wines. And I think, and I'm glad that you are here, and I think you should celebrate that. You should be very proud of this because you have great fruit, very balanced maturity, and the note of rose that makes the nose more gentle. And this is a very nice spiciness. Otherwise, the wine would be fairly banal. So myrtle, there is a very Mediterranean note. And then you have the territory, this nice ample wine, such that you don't need a draining method. So it's how long does it stay on the fine lees? About 4 months. And so this is not alcoholic or glyceric. And this is what the rosé wines need to have today. So they need acidity and also great dynamic. So it must be agile and. So I would like to invite Luca Biaggi and Carmine De Jure for the award. I don't know whether you wish to add anything. I am particularly happy because if there is a wine which is very much appreciated by Luca Biaggi's Cerasuolo, and so we have the best discussions on that. And we are very happy this year of the result. And because we have made this wine lighter. So we realized this year in Vinitaly that we were awarded for this wine. And of course it was a great satisfaction for us because Cerasuolo is tough, especially the one in Abruzzo, doesn't have a clear identity, so much so that we present as red Pinot because it says flavor, sapid, full. So it looks like a red, but we explain that it's Montepulciano vinified in white. Then each of us has a different technique. So this is a product which we like a lot because Cerasuolo to me is a very comprehensive wine because it can be paired with everything. And so for instance the arrosticini, which is meat, and the Cerasuolo d'Abruzzo. And then it's impossible to stop.
Categoria vini frizzanti rossi DOC IGT DOC G.
Nostraneim Lambrusco dell'Emilia, vino frizzante AGP. So we move back to the north and we go to Reggiana of Borzano di Albinea in the province of Reggio Emilia. It's always a great fun for me to attend the Premio Qualità Italia Ceremony Award, because unfortunately in master classes that they often ask me to manage, some wines are, I'm not saying criticized, but you think that they are not appealing. And last year I organized an event because I had some wines with this, so because of the idea of the gourmet wine 4.0, and I had various Lambrusco at my disposal. And in the end, the perception of the public wasn't the one that then the press thought it was. And they didn't even match the expectations of the producers. So the perception was much more positive, also thanks to what Lambrusco has done, especially the Lambrusco dell'Emilia. Because this wine is not too dark and full and not too weak. And sometimes this is done with Lambrusco. Here we have Marani and Maestri, and so you can play around with the various colors. So the interesting thing is that you can have balance and also a finesse that for years in Lambrusco was something unexpected. And I confirm the palate is very dry with this definition, tactile definition, and so they are pair very well with food, and they are perfect with with food. So it has a great balance, and I don't understand why sometimes they are criticized, because there's no reason why this kind of wine should not be in any wine list. And then we invite Antonella Fornaciari and Mr. Coloretti, and I'd like to invite Mr. Esposito for the award.
Va bene, ok, facciamo subito, dottor Fabio. Ok, nessun problema, certo. Bene, oltre al premio Qualità Italia.
Then besides the Premio Qualità Italia, we'll give a mention for red fizzy wine DOC IGT to Reggiano Lambrusco Frizzante, DOC, Vecchio Filare, and also Colli di Scandiano and Canossa, Malvo Gentile, Vigna dei Gelsi, and for white fizzy wines, Colli di Scandiano Veloce Spergola 2021 Caduchi, and Emilia Vino Frizzante Malvasia GT Le Fossette, and Lambrusco Spumante Muro del Diavolo, and Lambrusco dell'Ambuglio Vino GT Le Rose. So quite a few wines. Congratulations. Thank you for your congratulations. We are always very happy to attend the Premio Qualità Italia, and also this year I have to say that we've done pretty well. And Mr. Russo told me told what I wanted to say about Lambrusco. It is often downplayed and criticized, and Nostra Name is a Lambrusco in which we perform a cryomaceration, so with no maceration on the skins, but we do that later on the mast. And this helps us follow what the wine is giving us. So with the primary aromas of the wine.
12° vino, vini spumanti rossi, VSQ DOT IGT DOPG, Marcello, Lambrusco dell'Emilia
IGT, Ariola, Vini SRL from Langhirano, Parma.
Mi ripeterò, in questo caso abbiamo
In this case, we have only Lambrusco Maestri.
nei riguardi di quello che poi vuoi andare a dire e a rimarcare. Ci troviamo di fronte a un naso molto
So we have a very complex nose. There's not just fruit, but a lot of floral notes and
di erbe, di
herbs and spices,
va secondo me a rendere
which make this wine complex.
veniva travisato forse per la sua contestualizzazione. È bello ritrovare poi in bocca questa
And it's nice to find this perception of sanguinella orange, very citrusy, that tells us that this wine can give texture, depth and length,
in questo caso è palese.
which also in this case is quite evident.
Lo bevo anche perché poi ha questa percezione tattile, tannica.
It has this tactile perception of tannins, which is essential to rebalance the sweet notes in the finish and also to become very useful to clean the palate and make the palate ready for the next sip.
Bene, chiamerei il dottor Marcello Ceci per la
Marcello Cecci for the award.
C'è in sala?
Is he here?
Benissimo.
No.
Allora, andiamo
Okay,
avanti.
we can continue. Next wine.
In degustazione, quindi vini rossi GT.
Vini rossi GT.
2020, Zins, Puglia
Zins, Puglia Primitivo IGT. Cantino Torrevento, Corato Bari.
Torniamo in Puglia, in realtà non un vitigno.
So we go back to Primitivo or Zinfandel.
Con la terminologia che un po' si
Or
sono
Zinfandel. They fought for this name, and then genetic brought us apparently to Croatia, where that's not grown very much and not vinified much, like in Puglia and in California. The interesting thing, and I said that at the beginning of the,
tutti i vini che sono andati a degustare
it's
la sessione di degustazione dalla quale poi sono scaturite le mie note è stato quello che un po' mi ha messo in difficoltà.
so what is most important is that besides
Lo potete vedere anche dalla bottiglia.
the
La mira commerciale
so because it depends on the
è un fattore negativo perché il fatto che si sia tirato fuori
that you from Primitivo, we had so much varietal notes, but with this international predisposition that is well known across the world, is something that is not negative. We have the Marasca cherry, the ripened fruits, that sunny as the territory, and the palate is as these boisé notes and it's very sweet and harmonious without having heavy opulence. And it's interesting that we have these coffee notes, these toasted notes, some interesting tertiary flavors that can tell us very clearly how these wines, Italian wines, are perceived abroad. And this is a very well very interesting wine. Then Vini Rossi DOC Annate 2021-2022 and Quattro Lustri, Terre di Cosenza, Colline del Crati, Magliocco DOC.
Serracavallo,
Serracavallo, Bisignano, Cosenza.
In questo caso non vedo che il produttore presente no, peccato.
The producer is not here.
Vino che mi aveva divertito molto.
That was very interesting because of this interaction between the nose and the palate, which made me think to this place where I traveled recently, and which have very sunny, and these varieties are very powerful, and we often tasted it in blends. So it's rare that it's vinified as a single varietal, but actually it's very interesting. And then I wondered why where this acidity comes from, and so this perception of freshness. And these are vineyards that are in a very high altitudes, so that can be brought up to over 600 meters, and that give these vertical flavors that you would expect them to be more powerful. And so it's very easy to drink. And it's very balanced, and it reflects the identity of this area. And if you had the chance to go there and see these vineyards, this wine expresses the identity of that territory very well. Vini Rossi, EGT 2019 and previous. So this is the 15th wine. Dindi, Marche Rosso, Damiani, Pasqualino, Ribochanson, Ascoli Piceno. Well, this is very interesting because of course, there's difference between Montepulciano in Abruzzo, not necessarily Montepulciano d'Abruzzo, because we could speak a lot about where and the Montepulciano from the area of Piceno. I was very reluctant towards using Montepulciano 100% also in Marche, because it was so good in Abruzzo, and so this helped us. I see that these notes are interpreted in a way which is more difficult to make, because it goes against what the climate does, because the climate would make wines that are warmer, less acidic, but actually in reality these wines have less texture, less structure, but with the acidic and structural profile is very consistent. And so in this case there is a small addition of oak, which refines the elegance of this wine and to smoothen the tannins and make it more mouth-filling. And it's definitely a very balanced wine. Categoria Vini Rossi DOC 19-18, Colle d'Italia, Boccon, DOC Riserva 2018, Paco del Verne, Vo Padova. I invite you to take a look at the chromatic scale. It's always interesting to to see the color of these wines. So in this case, I think that I'm always, you never know whether Cabernet is Franc or Sauvignon, because the rule book allows to have both. And in this case, we should have 12 months on barrique, half and half, and the consistency is very good. From Franc, I have pyrazine and vegetal notes, which are more emphasized, and more spiciness. Sauvignon gives more fruit, maturity, complexity, but above all, on the palate, and despite this, wine is young. So I think that it still needs to stay in the bottle to express its best. There is great acidity of Franc, and also this mouth-filling character of Sauvignon. So it's very complementary. And then it's harmonized thanks to the wood. So nice balance and lingering taste. Benedetta Bison and Toniolo, and Di Sabatino is delivering the prize. Premio Qualità Italia. We have Passiti Doc, Fior d'Arancio, Passito Doc IGT, Parco del Benda. We are always present. Well, we always try to make the most of the Colli Euganei land, and we're very happy to showcase this small area that makes great wines. So thank you very much. Congratulations. 17th wine. Vini Rossi di Ossi, Vigna Saboco, Terre di Cosenza, Colline del Crati, DOC Riserva 2017, Agricola Serracavallo, Bisignano di Cosenza. This is a wine that reflects the characteristics of Majocco that I mentioned before. It's a wine that we are not used to drink as a single varietal wine. And in this case, we have pre-drying that, of course, marks the nose very evidently, but without creating the opulence, sweet opulence. And so, as I said, sometimes some wines can be dried very successfully, whereas others are so. For others, that's not exactly the case, and this is very interesting, because this is a variety that is extremely interesting. So this is a wine that is stays 30 months in small barrels, and the wood has dampened and smoothened the asperities of this wine. This is 2017, that was warm, a warm summer, and that made it complicated to combine the technological maturation and the phenolic maturation. So we have a very balanced wine with an interesting acidic tension. Very well. Categoria vini rossi DOC G. So we taste Prima Madre, Montepulciano d'Abruzzo, Terpoli Teramano DOC G from Società Agricola Ladi, Morro d'Oro, Teramo.
Quella è una delle note che avevo scritto, che era palese quanto questo vino richiamasse toni autunnali.
So here we have the notes of fall, and that is an idea of the varietal which unfortunately we are losing due to climate change, because these overripened fruit make you lose all the background of undergrowth and spices and aromatic herbs that make Montepulciano very interesting from the aromatic standpoint. We have this in this wine. Also probably because 2016 was a year, there will be more probably. 16 has been one of the most balanced ones. And this gave us the chance to make a step backward and have a flashback of the characteristic of some varieties that we were losing. So floral notes, undergrowth, and the complexity of very balanced years. And then the palate matches with the nose. Nice acidic tension, good texture, but not extreme, no redundant texture. And above all, this umami, this savory note in the finish. And Eleonora Palusci and Luca Marcone. So in addition to Premio Qualità Italia, we have a mention for red wines, 2120 Montepulciano d'Abruzzo Pelari and Montepulciano d'Abruzzo DOC 2018 La Quercia. So here we are. Congratulations.
Ci dice qualcosa della Prima Madre, dottoressa?
So can you tell us something about Prima Madre?
In parte diciamo si presenta da solo perché Colline Teramane.
Well, the Colline Teramane is reminiscent of the Teramo Hills, 250 meters above sea level. And here we have the Prima Madre managed to actually express our territory. It's aged for the first 3 years in stainless steel vats, and then 1 year in large casks of Savognano casks, and 1 year in the bottle. Thank you and congratulations.
Prossima, grazie dottore Esposito, le facciamo fare le camminate. Prossimo vino.
And then the next wine, EGT Aiana, Isola dei Nuraghi, Ferrucci d'Aiana, Settimo San Pietro, Cagliari.
Prima all'inizio della degustazione
At the beginning of the tasting, we were talking about modern enology and how much it pushed Italy. This was fundamental for the enhancement of some territories towards purity. I am a big supporter, and I would like to see the complementarity of the varietal wines as a response to what is happening as to climate change. And so looking for in the genetics and so to look for what is missing in purity due to climate change. I mean, if we can correct so if we can correct wine in terms of acidity or structure, before thinking of how to touch it in the cellar, why don't we think which varieties can help us solve that problem, always based on climate change? And of course, from the historical standpoint, there are of course varietals, Chianti Classico, Valpolicella, but many other varieties were never used alone. And I think that varietals that together give the best. And they have great, so they give a great harmony. Bovara, Carignano, and Cannonau is the best that South Sardinia can offer. Which is sometimes difficult to find with single varietals. This, I think, spends 18 months on small barrels. So toasted notes, which harmonizes these three varieties. So good texture, good acidity, thanks of the year, and also nice depth on the palate. I perceive this umami descriptor. Mr. Di Sabatino, is there something ancient in this wine? Well, certainly, what I was saying as we were tasting, it's as if we are going into a library. So if you taste all these wines so different, of course, during the competition this did not happen. So we tasted them by category, and so the panel could just focus on those characteristics. Whereas in this way, we range from comics to detective stories to essays. And there is a great wealth, a great choice. So this historical aspect of wine that must be also appreciated for its time. So this is a demanding masterclass. And so we have to have the time to focus. Is there anyone from this winery? I don't think so. Then Cantina Ferruccio Deiana, also as mentioned, Isola dei Nuraghi GT Tueto Bella Rosa for rosé wines, and then Vermentino di Sardegna Arvali, and Isola dei Nuraghi IGT Oirad, and Cannonau di Sardegna.
Prossimo vino in degustazione,
Next one.
spumanti bianchi dolci, Venus Colli
White Spumante Wine, DOC Malvasia 2021, Baltidone, Borgonovo, from Borgonovo, Piacenza. So this is a battery with so many aromatic wines, and playing around with the various interpretations And this is something very special. And so perhaps this is a more classical interpretation that stimulates another topic, which is the cultural limits that these wines encounter. So the fact that this wine that has this aromatic nature and also nice complexity, for instance, of candied notes, and but maybe in this case with more ripeness and sweetness, and also mineral notes that make this wine much finer than what we expect. So these wines are often limited by the fact that they are related, for instance, to the pairing with sweet wine with sweet food, and which is a very wrong pairing, but this is what we have been doing. And often there are biases that can affect the wines. And sometimes we drink them only in some occasions. But they could be drunk like our French cousins do. And I hate them to some extent. Of course, I'm joking, because we invented the combination of oysters and champagne. They use muscadella, that is a sweeter wine. So we should pair these wines with contrasting foods, and so that they can enhance the peculiarities. So if we could pair it with fish or seafood, that would be make it become more valuable, which is already very valuable, with a very interesting sapidity. Alessandro Chiapparoli for the award. And Mr. Di Sabatino is delivering the award. So congratulations. So very well, the Premio Qualità Italia goes with other awards mentioned, Vini Bianchi Doc 2020 in previous, Colli Piacentini Malvasia, 50 vendemmie, and Good Turnio, Bollo Rosso, and Vino Spumante Qualità Extra per Lage. Congratulations. So I like this spumante very much. What's inside? A lot of passion. Thank you for your awards. I am very happy because we tasted 3 Malvasia di Candia Aromatica, which is very typical of Colli Piacentini, which has endless potentials. And so I'm very happy to receive this award, and also to taste it both in the fizzy and in the still version, because we think it can express a lot in many ways. So we're very proud. Congratulations. So 21st, Vini Passiti IGT, Corusco, Colli Cimini GT, Passito 2019. I viticoltori Colli Cimini, Vignanello, Viterbo. We have another Malvasia, which is interesting. It's interesting to see the suitability of these varietals to be used in different ways. As to Passito wines, so here we are tasting great Passito wines, and often when I travel, I taste the passito wines and they say, well, but you don't sell them. They serve them at the end of the meal, and because no one will ever order this. But this is partially true, because I do a lot of trading, and I talk to sommelier reporter restaurants, and where you can place this wine in the right place, so with its sweetness and complexity, and you can increase the perception, improve the perception of these wines, and make their tasting unforgettable. And even more, maybe the pairing with the great wine that everybody expects. And so this is a great tool to sommelier, because you can taste the wine that goes from ripened fruit, canted citrus fruit, slightly withered flowers, spices, and these wood, these boisé notes. And then it's very ample and warm. And then he's also very honest in the finish. And the finish is very clean. So that often we say that we cannot put a passito in a tasting only at the end, because otherwise we can't go back. But actually, with these wines, you can do that. You can go. It's sapid. So despite we have the residual sugar. And now Alessandro Soprani and Alessandro Serafini for the award.
Premio Dottor Russo.
Mr. Russo is delivering the award. I have a question. Does this passito come from a specific tradition, which may be regional or family tradition? Well, it comes from our research, which we started a few years ago on this variety, to make it like this, as a passito wine. This is something that took quite some time, but that is starting giving us very positive results. I think it's fairly complete, and like Mr. Russo said, it's also great in restaurants. Also because the label is very interesting. It's a small production, so it's a niche production. 2018-19, the grapes come from a wonderful harvest, and for the rest, it's made with the typical drying method. So we cut the bunches and we dry them for 20 days, a month. And of course, the grapes must be perfect, have no pests or diseases. So we cut the bunches in the first week of October, and then after 1st November, we vinify the wine. I don't know if the enologist, because he makes the wine. Also, to answer to what you said, well, in our area, we made a licorice wine with Greco di Vignello, and we also have a manifesto of 1902 we have Greco di Vignello, and it was a luxury wine for ladies. So we have this kind of tradition, and that was fortified so not with Malvasia. Thank you very much, and congratulations. Well, unfortunately, we are at the last wine.
Dolci in fondo.
Allora, vini passiti DOC,
Vino Passito DOC, Capezzano, Vinsanto Carmignano, DOC Riserva 2014, Capezzano, Cermignano, Prato.
Qui sono di parte perché Carmignano, sono di parte perché è una cantina che conosco bene.
And it's a winery I know very well. And recently I visited their Vinsantaia, which for Tuscan wineries is a very valuable place. And there are few wineries that can afford to have the Carati barrels like they have in Capezzana. And this might seem just an aesthetic choice, but this is what has made Vinsanto great. And this wine in particular, which is so complex, and it's always fun to see 2014 in these wines, because in that year you would expect there was no grapes, but then you come up with these wonderful wines. So it's always great fun to find this hazelnut and walnut hull, candied fig, lots of spices. Warmth, very much warmth with withered flowers. So this is not opulence, but it's a very solar wine.
Bene, possiamo chiamare la dottoressa
Benedetta Contini.
Per la premiazione premia il dottor Di Sabatino. Prego, dottoressa. Insieme a questo
And
premio
Mr. Di Sabatino delivers the award. There are also mentioned for Carmignano EG Rossi and Carmignano DOC EG Capezzano. And then a regional certificate, Vini Bianchi Toscana Trebbiano di Capezzana.
Vuole aggiungere qualcosa su quello che ha detto il dottore?
You want to add anything? Yes, I might add something. Every year we choose the grapes, so we choose the best grapes, and then they are tried on the mats. Then we check these wines for 4 or 5 months all together with natural ventilation, sometimes forced if it rains, and then 7 years in the barrel. Now I'm very nervous, and also because in less than 1 month, myself and Alessio, who is my right arm, sometimes also left arm, because we work very well together, we will open the new vintage. And we have to have already an idea the wine to make. So it's the wine that speaks. If the wine is small, I will have to remove just a little Vinsanto from Caratelli. So it's always about empty barrels or full barrels. So harvest is important, but always how much, but also how much and for how long you dry the grapes. And strong winds are not good. And I know that someone is now closing the windows. And I told them which one to open and close in the morning and what to close in the evening, especially if there is a tramontana wind. So it's all about balance. That I also like to find in the glass. So it's an extreme wine, and the balance is very important. And also the barrels are all different. come to Capezzana. I will show you the Vinsantaya, where we have small caratelli barrels, large ones. Some are older than me. Some from the time of sharecropping. Thank you. This is a nice blend of competence and passion. Very interesting, because with Vinsanto there is something more to it that comes out from the glass. So now we invite Tiberio Novecentini for the mention of Colli della Toscana Centrale GT Noces and Passite d'Occhi e Santo del Chianti. Tiberio. We only taste the wines that received the award. Congratulations.
Posso dire che la degustazione dei vini
So tasting Passito wines and dessert wines has been particularly interesting from the quality point of view. So the committees worked hard. Some prefer Sardinia, some prefer Tuscany. So even though he didn't receive the first prize, he got the. Then Cantina Sacco Todesca Daniela, Sacco Francesco e Re del Giampiero, mention for Greco di Tufo. Are you here? No. We can continue. Ossa, Bonanini, Samuel.
DOC 2020, cioè
Sciacchetrà.
Eccolo, premio russo. È lui il vero artefice? Eh sì.
So he is the winemaker.
È il futuro, è così, complimenti.
So a special certificate for Vini Rossi GT, Bergamasca Franconia IGP, Vini Rossi DOC, Val Calebio, Montecroce.
Dottor Bertoli Angeli e la dottoressa Elena Gatti.
Bertoli Angeli e Legatti.
Complimenti.
Congratulations.
Ecco, tenete presente che tutte le menzioni sono molto vicini come punteggio a chi ha vinto il premio, perché siamo.
And remember that those that received the mention are very close to those who received the first prize.
Per la cantina produttori Bolzano, il dottor
Stefan Filippi, per Trentino Alto Adige, vini bianchi DOC 2021, Kleinstein, Gewürztraminer.
Come sentite sono tutti vini importanti.
So these are all important wines.
Bene, grazie.
Very well, thank you.
Per la società agricola Quercete,
Società Agricola Quercete, Mr. Luca Bottone.
Per la premiazione. Speciale attestato regionale Campania, vini rossi GT annate 2021 e 2020, terre del Volturno,
Fortelle del Volturno IGT rosso Pallagre e vini bianchi IGT Pallagrelo bianco IGT 2019.
Non c'è? Non c'è, ok.
The winemaker is not here, so we can continue.
Miglianico
Chieti,
Abruzzo DOC 2018.
il fondatore Montepulciano d'Abruzzo 2018.
Ancora un'altra menzione per la stessa cantina, il vino è Murelle,
And Murelle, Montepulciano d'Abruzzo DOC 2021.
Strada facendo fa la foto perché insomma ci sta. Sta accusando il corpo. c'è la cantina Mimmo Paone?
Mimmo Paone.
No. Bene, allora noi concludiamo qui.
So we close here, and we would like to tell you thank you for participating to the competition. Thank you for joining. And of course, you can use the reviews by Mr. Russo if you think they correspond to your opinion, to promote your wines and suggest pairings. Thank you to the staff, sommelier, the photographers, cameraman, Dr. Russo, Di Sabatino, and Esposito, who accompanied us. So see you next time. As you heard, the main characteristic of this year was continuous trying to find sustainability, which is necessary, that is mandatory. So the time has come for sustainability, and we have to cherish it, not only from the environmental standpoint, but sustainability should be seen in terms of ESG, especially the governance part, because social and environment depend on governance, and so your approach and your decisions, which is a very important approach. You can find more information on our website for our sustainability guidelines, and it's the only accredited system available in the world. So I hope that you liked this tasting. Congratulations, and safe journey back home, and see you next time.